What's going on, guys, and welcome to the Catgirl Appreciation Society podcast. If you are here, then let me welcome you. This is my brand new podcast that I am starting for the channel, and I am very excited to be able to bring this content to you. Many times I've tried to do a podcast in the past, and it just hasn't worked out for one reason or another. But now YouTube has enabled me to have all of my content under one roof, and I am thrilled. Now I can finally do all of my random ramblings on anime, manga, and gaming. And of course, if you're here, you should know, trigger warning, there's going to be some cringe, and there's going to be a lot of Catgirl appreciation. So, now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the Slime Diaries. It has been a while since I have talked about anime. In fact, I think it's been almost a year since I've made any sort of anime content on the channel. And yeah, I'm excited, and I hope that you are too. So let's dive into it. So we're going to be talking about the Slime Diaries. I've got my Blu-ray right here. I haven't even cracked this open yet. I picked this up, oh goodness, a couple of weeks ago, and some of my viewers that were in my live stream chat had been on me about getting some new anime. Was I going to be getting this new anime or that new anime? This X title anime is now available on Blu-ray. What am I going to get that? So I'm like, okay, I need to go make another anime run, and let's see if I can find something that's local in the store and I don't have to place an order and pace the floor for 3 days waiting for it to maybe get here or not get here on time. So I went to this shop here in town that sells video games, used games, new games, lots of used movies on both DVD, Blu-ray, and they have a lot of new stuff, and they have a pretty good selection of anime, and not a lot of manga, but they do have a lot of anime. So it will scratch that itch. And so I'm like, okay, let's see if they have the two anime that I'm looking for. I went specifically looking for How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, season 2. And I went looking for the Slime Diaries, and they had them both. So I was very happy. It was an outing that was actually worth it. I didn't come home upset because they didn't have what I was looking for. You know that story. You've been there, I'm sure. So anyway, the Slime Diaries, let's talk about it. It's been a while since I've watched it. When it was airing, and I don't remember what year this was, I did some anime reviews, some episode reviews each week as the episodes were coming out. And I've since delisted those reviews. They weren't really being watched, and after a while they sort of were dragging down the channel, but I really enjoyed the show, and I'm a huge fan of isekai anime. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I am a huge fan of isekai anime. Good isekai, bad isekai, terrible isekai. It doesn't matter. If some dude is being transported to another world, I'm probably going to watch it. I don't know how this happened. I didn't start my anime journey 20 years ago with the intention of becoming the isekai guy, okay? But that's sort of how it has evolved. I think I personally just like the power trip, power fantasy, putting a lot of the old tropes on the shelf and just enjoying the dude getting all the powers and whatever. And there are times that isekai do make me roll my eyes. I mean, I'm not going to lie, they still manage to slip in quite a few of the terrible tropes that anime has regardless. And I'm just like, oh, this is bad, but I watch it anyway. It's like junk food. I can't help it. So the Slime Diaries. If you're a fan of that time I got reincarnated as a slime, then you know what this is. You've watched it, I'm assuming, and you may have liked it. However, I have to point out that if you have not watched it yet, and you are a fan of Tensura and Rimuru and Milim and all of the rest of them, first of all, why have you not watched this? What has prevented you from watching this? Make some time, go watch it. But if you haven't watched it, there should be a little small disclaimer on the package somewhere that says, this is a slice of life. It's a little different. It's not going to hit the same as that time I got reincarnated as a slime. It's gonna be a little more laid back. It's gonna have a lot more of the haha, of the funny, of the comedy, and it's gonna be very, very situational, as in the day by day, mundane, everyday stuff. So if that is not your cup of tea, avoid it. Also, I need to point out, in the same way that I'm a huge isekai fan, I'm also a huge slice of life fan. And I think that the combination of these two things was perfect. Absolutely perfect. I couldn't have asked for a show that was more custom tailored to my needs as a viewer. So, the Slime Diaries spin-off series, yes, but still set in the same universe as that time I got reincarnated as a slime. I know that there is some sort of a chronology here. If you're going to like go from season 1 all the way to what is coming next, that the Slime Diaries does sort of fit in there somewhere. I don't have that in front of me. I can't tell you where exactly this falls in the show. It feels like some episodes of this take place in season 1, and some episodes take place between season 1 and season 2, which is what I'm going to sort of stick with. I feel like you could watch this between season 1 and 2, and it would be perfect. If you try to watch this after season 2 of Tensura, you're going to be a little confused, I think. Now, unlike the other seasons of Tensura, this is only 12 episodes long. So you're not going to be getting like any major arcs that are going to happen. There's nothing like that. It is your run-of-the-mill slice of life. It is based off of a manga. It is not based off of a light novel. So if you are a manga fan and you've been reading Tensura, probably go ahead and pick this up as well. I have not read any of this manga, so I don't know how faithful it is, how unfaithful it is, if there's a lot of filler. I'm going to assume filler is going to be a thing that's going to always be with us. So however much it dilutes down the anime experience from someone who has read the manga is probably going to depend on what show we're watching. In this case, I couldn't tell you. It seems to me like it follows a pretty good structure. So I'm not qualified to say if it does or doesn't, if it's filler or it isn't. It all works for me. Again, it's isekai, I love it. It's slime, I love it. Enough said. Now, I also want to throw this out there. You don't necessarily need to have seen season 1 of that time I got reincarnated as a slime. I think you could actually enjoy this on its own. If you have not watched anything slime related, Tensura related, I think it's fine. You can watch this on its own. You're probably going to have questions, which hopefully will lead you into the other material, the other anime, maybe the other light novels, or the other manga. And that's perfectly fine. The story is such that nothing necessarily hinges on any of the knowledge that's in the other seasons, so to speak. I think for me, the main appeal, other than the isekai aspect, and of course the slice of life aspect, is the humor. Tensura has a fantastic way of sticking most all of the humor landings. If a joke is set up, the joke lands. When a character does something that's witty and funny, it lands and they go with it. I don't feel like any of the jokes or any of the messages or the themes beat you over the head. It's not that kind of a show, but what kind of show it is, and because it's an isekai, we have a protagonist that comes to another world. And in this particular case, instead of maintaining their human form, they get reincarnated as a slime with this ability, this access to what is called the Great Sage that can boost them. So by simply existing in this world and doing certain things, they gain abilities, sort of like just running through an RPG and spamming crouch will boost your sneak ability. This sort of thing, just existing boosts Rimuru until eventually Rimuru is capable of taking on a humanoid shape. But at his heart of hearts, Rimuru is still a slime. So that's the interesting twist here. Rimuru is a slime, but also kind of a humanoid that is very OP. And Rimuru is bringing together all of these different species into his own sort of kingdom, his own sort of city. And it's a really interesting mixture when you have all of these different races of creatures and beastmen, and it makes for a really interesting deep dive into culture. For the first time, we're actually getting to take a look at how the city is shaping up, because it was sort of founded in the first season. Now we're starting to get to see what is the day-to-day life inside this city without there being some new arc that's happening, because that's sort of what happens in the first and second seasons. You don't really get much of a break in terms of, oh, hey, let's go down the street and hit that new shop that we just built and try out some of the local delicacy. You don't really get to experience that in the main story, but you do here. And that's what makes it really interesting. So it sort of fills out the world of Tensura, I would say. Not to mention, what works other than the humor and the charm is the interactions between the characters. You get to see how Rimuru deals with his role as this leader, being pulled in so many different directions. People think that being the boss is this simple task where you just give everybody a bunch of orders and it all gets done. And depending on what type of a leader you are, what sort of leadership role you have, doesn't always work that way, and it's never that simple. And I think that this show really exemplifies Rimuru as a character who wants to get their hands dirty, who wants to interact with everyone, but at the same time has all of these great ambitions, but is constantly being surrounded by people that adore him, because he's not only is he their leader, not only has he saved them, he's like their hero. So like everyone in this town has like this, it's hero worship every time Rimuru steps out of his office. And it's a really interesting and funny experience to see. Now, aside from Rimuru, I think my favorite character in the entire franchise is going to be Milim. I'm a little disappointed that Milim did not show up right away, but I think we got more Milim in Slime Diaries than we did in all of season 1, probably even season 2. So if you're a Milim fan like I am, you're not going to be disappointed. And I want to say that some of the best moments have Milim in them. Demon Lord Milim is perfect. She is the absolute perfect best friend, bestie, BFF for Rimuru, because Milim is this demon lord that should be this horrible, violent, destructive force of nature and has the capabilities of being just that. But because she's besties with Rimuru, has sort of dialed it down at his request. And so while they don't butt heads, he realizes that she's a force to be reckoned with, but he has to handle her in very specific ways, like how she opens the door, for example. There's just literally could burst through the wall. It's like, no, Milim, open the door like a like a normal person, turn the handle and open it, that sort of thing. So it's a really cool dynamic when you have this really OP slime character, this really OP demon lord that are best friends. And it just, I don't know. It's a really cool dynamic. Milim is awesome. Enough said. Milim can do no wrong. Go Team Milim. That's all I'm going to say. Go Team Milim. All right. One thing that I would say isn't necessarily apparent, at least on a surface level, is how much this intertwines with the main story, the main seasons 1 and season 2. There are events in season 2 that I'm not going to spoil, but there is some foreshadowing in this show. There's a conversation that I thought was extremely deep, extremely well thought out, a conversation that Milim has with Rimuru in regards to the future of this city, this nation kingdom that he's building. And I think that it lends itself really well. If you look for it, there are these little threads that connect this show with the main series. Even though it's sort of like we're taking a break from the main series and we're having fun and we're doing all of this slice of life stuff, there is still this overwhelming sense of, you do realize it's a dangerous world out there type of a situation. You do realize that maybe we can't have this type of peace and happiness all the time, that it might not always be this way. And I love that it makes these little hints, it drops these little suggestions. And I think that that is what elevates this show from being just your average run slice of life, which on the surface it very much is. I'm not trying to make it deeper than it is. It's a very slice of life anime, but it has a lot of appeal. I've actually talked to some fans who say that they prefer this over the main story. And I'm not trying to say this to sway anyone in any particular direction, left or right or whatever. It's just something that I've observed. It has a very strong appeal. Overall, I think that the show is excellent. The animation is really, really good. The characters are fantastic, and we get more characters than we really see in the main show. The main show has a lot to get through, and when it's not bogging itself down in a lot of conversation that could be shortened, it's really sort of skipping over some of the main and secondary, tertiary characters, a lot of the background characters. I mean, they get their time, but this show really explores a lot of the characters in a slice of life setting. It's different when you're rushing through an arc in the main show versus this side story where you have a little bit more time to flesh out some of these other characters. And there is some amazingly adorable moments that will just literally give you a blood sugar coma. It's that sugary, sweet, and adorable. So there's a lot to really take in with this. Like I said, on the surface, it seems very slice of life, seems very throwaway, movie of the week. We've been there, we've done that, we're moving on. But I'm going to say there's more to it than that. It is not your average slice of life once you get through the first couple of episodes. It really starts to layer itself pretty deep. I think Slime Diaries is a great anime for pretty much anyone. First of all, anyone that loves That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, or anyone that just wants to watch something that's lighthearted and enjoyable. I'm going to go ahead and spoil a little bit of season 2 and say season 2 got dark, deep dark in some places, but then slowly started working its way back out. And even for me, a person that really likes the main show and loves the franchise, I had to step away. It was that dark at one point. And so I could understand people not being necessarily excited about a show that gets too grim. But this one doesn't. So if you're not about the grim, here you go. I'm hand-ramming it to you. I'm gifting it to you. On a silver platter, go watch this show. It's got the humor, it's got the charm, it's got the heart, it's got the warmth that will make you smile and laugh. If I had to rate the Slime Diaries, and I'm hesitant to rate stuff because numbers are kind of arbitrary. I've never really sat down and figured out the extensive what makes something a 9 or a 10 or an 8 or a 7. I'm just going to say out of 5. Okay, out of 5, 5 being a masterpiece, this is a solid 4 to a 4.5. It is virtually perfect. There are some things about it that are just a little on the meh side, but I think that that's true of a lot of shows, and that's inconsequential here. I think it's a great show. I highly recommend it to anyone that likes slice of life, anyone that loves comedies, anyone that loves fantasy isekai shows. This is going to be your jam. So go check it out. Now, having said that, if you have seen The Slime Diaries and you are a fan of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, I'd love to hear about it. What are your thoughts about the show? Are you looking forward to more installments of Tensura? Who's your favorite character? Have you seen this show? Has this show made you appreciate characters more? Maybe appreciate characters less? Are you Team Milam? I'm asking a lot of questions here, so you're going to have to head to the comments. You're going to have to write some really lengthy responses here to cover all of these questions that I'm asking. But nevertheless, get in the comments, leave some comments. Let's get some conversation going. So that's it. That's the show. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe for more. And of course, don't forget to check out the gaming content. I stream almost every single day. So there's got to be something that you might be wanting to watch or wanting to see me play. Head to the comments, leave a comment, let me know all about it. Guys, thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Keep being awesome. I will see you all in the next podcast.